we are going to wait for the notification to go on out. Whew. That was a thick one. That was like a thick energy bubble that just kind of like, ooh, I cannot wait to sound the tone. Okay. All right, we waiting for the notification to go on out. Come on in. I did not get my notification yet, so. Welcome everybody. Okay. My notification have not went out yet. Hey Miss T, so you got your notification. I have not gotten mine yet. I can't even really find it. I can't even find our live, so I can go to the chat. Let's see. Let's do this another way. How is this energy cheating you, Miss T? Yeah, why can I not find my, okay, boom, found it. Okay, oh, okay, yeah. That could be, yeah, so people may not necessarily be getting the notifications, huh, Miss T? Okay, well, you know what? I am going to say who is supposed to be here is going to be here, right? And when it is time, the message is going to find whoever needs the message. That is the way that the energy is right now. It is a resonance, so we are just putting the resonance out, and whoever is supposed to come in and meet us at this resonance, right? Will. Okay, so I wanted to jump on here early today because the energy, first of all, I was coming on the live, and then I got a notification from Stephon Burns, whom I love because he is a geologist, is that I think what they call him, and he tracks the solar weather, okay? And so there's a notification that came out about 3i Atlas suddenly begins to erupt with jet plasma, okay? And the V1 field have disappeared. Okay, so now I went into a channeled message to kind of get an understanding of what's going on, right? And let me write that down too. Okay, the 13th. Okay. So what's happening is, you know, we've been talking about the activation of the 12. Okay, we've been talking about the activation of the 12. Yeah, definitely check him out. Okay, definitely check him out. Now, I will say to you this, okay, if you can get past, so let's talk about resonance for a second, right? When you're doing your research right now, right, and you're doing any type of truth, remember, truth is going to first validate itself within, and then it's going to verify itself without, okay? So, for example, you're going to find that something he says may resonate with you, you know, or you will find that you're scrolling through the internet and, you know, online, and something you've been thinking about pops up for you, right? And validates your inner truth, okay? So what you're looking for is the validation of your inner truth, right? And your higher tone versus maybe paying attention to people's belief systems, okay? So, and I say that because a lot of people, even if they're still in, you know, like religious aspect, they're still speaking the truth, okay? And I don't think he's heavily religious. I actually appreciate the fact that, and I don't really, and let me just say this, boom, okay? I do not watch him every day, guys. I do not watch him every day. I go with synchronicity. I am subscribed to his channel. So if energetically I'm picking anything up, right, a video might pop up. Okay, so I go based on maybe the resonance of the video titles, okay, in a particular moment. Okay, or if somebody like Kelley, if there's something going on, and Kelley comes across something from him, she may send it to me, right? The point I'm trying to make is, when you're in resonance, you don't have to go seeking for things. They will come to you because you are the one emitting the frequency, okay? So you can think about it as dropping a pebble in water. And when you drop a pebble in water, what happens is there is a frequency or a tone that emits from the initial drop of water, and it spans outwards, right? But what you may not always see is not only does that tone or that frequency or that vibration spans outwardly, it also contracts. It comes back into itself, all right? So that's what's happening right now, okay? When they talk about when they talk about the breath, right? The breath is literally a expansion, right? That's the expansion is in creating the experiences, right? And it's also in the contraction when you remember who you are, okay? So we're still talking about positive, negative energy. We're still talking about feminine, masculine energy. You're fine, baby. We're talking about how you're going to be okay, slow down. They're saying to slow down. Okay, we're talking about how you're going to alchemize, and I don't even know if I said that word properly, right? But this is what the sages and all the ancient ones and all of the mystic from ancient times were talking about. They were talking about being able to transmute energy and turn base metal into gold, and they had to write this scriptically encoded, right? They were not literally talking about transmuting base metal into gold on an external level, right? I mean, which you could if you have the proper alchemic sequence, and they're finding that out now, okay? They were more so talking about turning base metal into gold, being able to transmute energy from within, okay? And then seeing that happen externally, all right? That's your emotions. That's your feelings. That's being able to discern energy that you may not be able to see, which we will call the field, the energetic field, right? Your bioelectrical field, because you are a magnetic electrical being, which means that you send things out and you pull things into you, right? Think of the pebble dropping in the water. The pebble drops in the water, right? It expands outwardly, and then it then comes back into itself. It's like the wave, right? It comes in and it goes out. Literally, that is called breath. That is what we would call breath, okay? And that is why all of the ancient ones talked about meditation and how it's important for you to be still, okay? So, as we get into the 12 and unpacking the 12, okay, and everything connected to the 12, I just want to add right here, we are also going to talk about the 13, the hidden dot, which is you, okay? We're going to unpack that too, because that's the secret right there. Once you gain access to the 12, you then begin to operate from the 13 energy, or the 13 number, or anything connected to 13, because that's source energy. Even if you call it Christos energy, right? The Christ energy. Even if you call it nirvana, even if you call it heaven, whatever you call it, right? That's being able to operate from that actual energy of source, okay? That's what's happening right now. That's literally what's happening right now. What's happening, and when I say source, I'm talking about being authentically who you are, right? Flaws and all. Accepting every part of you, whether you call it the dark side or the light side. Understanding that you are a complex being. There's many, many levels to you. You know how we talk about many levels, many dimensions, many realms? Just like there's many levels, many dimensions, and there are many realms, there are many, many aspects to you. Okay? Yes. Inner truth, higher tone. Okay? That's what's happening right now. Okay? So as we even begin to look at Three-Eye Atlas, remember I told you guys, right? Three-Eye Atlas and A6 Lemon is a representation of masculine and feminine energy. Okay? That's what they're representing. So as it begins to erupt plasma now, also please understand, plasma And this is another thing. Let me point this out too, okay? Pay attention to things. I don't know if you remember growing up, there used to be blood banks. I don't know, you would drive around and you would see blood banks, right? Should you pass me my water, please? There would be blood banks, right? Now, thank you, Lily. As you are moving around, you don't really see blood banks anymore. What you see is plasma centers. Anybody ever notice that? They're not called blood banks anymore. They're called plasma centers. They're called plasma centers. They're no longer called blood banks. Okay? So that's just even to let you know that they've changed their tone already. That's a resonance. That's a tone. Yeah? So plasma centers are simply just blood bank. Remember, blood, I don't remember what they used to, was it blood banks or blood, it was something with blood back in the days. It was not plasma centers. It was not plasma, okay? So even the fact that they've changed to plasma is an indication that the energy has changed, okay? And just so you know, go down the spiral and study plasma and come up the spiral and study plasma. Plasma, when you go back and we're doing it. Okay, so now what we do, okay, first of all, I'm sorry. I did not set the tone, y'all. Woo, blood banks. Okay, yeah, thank you, Miss T. I did not set the tone, okay? Let's go ahead and set the tone. I'm going to say this and then I'm going to go ahead and set the tone, okay? The connection I'm trying to make here is when you go and you study to show thyself approved, right? And you research what plasma is, and you research how you are connected to plasma, you will understand that your soul in its essence is plasma. It's plasma. Okay? That's a little nugget for you. Your soul in its essence is plasma. Okay? All right, so with that note, we're going to go ahead. We're going to set the tone. All right? So that's just a little thing for you, right? They're no longer called blood banks. They're called plasma centers, and that's a reason. And even if the reason is simply to show you the shift in energy, right? Because we're now operating on that electricity. You're an electrical being, right? Plasma is electric in nature, okay? So, three-eye atlas, all right, in its nature, erupting, that's electricity, my loves. Right? That's electricity. Why? Okay, so I'm just going to say, if they're offering that much of money for you to come and donate blood, my question then becomes, what's going on in your blood right now? That price has gone. Because usually you just get like 50, 60 bucks, Miss T. Usually it's 50, 60 bucks. It's not usually $750. Okay? So usually it's $50 or $60. And, all right, that's a lot of cards. No. All right. Okay. We're going to go ahead and shuffle these cards and set the tone. And then we're going to go on into this message. Okay? So Miss T. Miss T, but that's, you're learning to read the energy. And just, can I say, like, it's nothing, there's no good or bad to this. Okay, first of all, I'm done. Miss T, I'm done. Okay, first of all, y'all, let me just say, let me just say, I'm about to drop some wisdom here to y'all right there, right? So, I have been popping up and seeing 12/12 sequence from since I started to come to you guys that we're going to be unpacking the 12, okay? 12. And remember how we talked about mirroring energy like a couple of weeks ago, 12 and 21, right? Listen, y'all, what is these things? Can y'all see what these things say? I cannot make this up. We got mirroring energy in the atmosphere. Right? Didn't I just talk about that energy coming through with A3 Atlas and A6 Lemon? One energy is more in the masculine aspect and one energy is more in the feminine aspect. Okay? And then we start talking about plasma energy. All right, so they set the tone. All right, so we're going to jump into this because the tone is set. The tone is change, and its mirroring energy is divine feminine in nature, which means the womb, which means creation, which means intuition. Okay? Now, it's open for you to be able to change what you're creating. Right? Remember yesterday we talked about the stage, right? We talked about the stage, right? We talked about what? We talked about the script, and then we talked about the actors. And I kind of explained to you how that works energetically, right? And how sometimes you think you're arguing with people or debating with people to get your point across. And it really, that's not even what it's about. It's more about you remembering who you are, right? You remembering and mastering who you are. Just like I said a few minutes ago, it's alchemy time. And the alchemy is not an external changing base metal into gold externally. It's about transmuting energy internally. And the way that you're transmuting this energy internally is through your emotions, through your actions, through your breath. Okay? So it's really the four elements operating through breath. Okay, so we set in the tone. Let me go ahead and set the disclaimer before we sound the bell. Okay? All right, my disclaimer is this message may not be for everyone. Oh, hi, Cheryl. How are you, my love? Cheryl, when you get a chance, you may want to go back and watch the first 16 minutes. I think you will find it helpful for the rest of the conversation, okay? Cheryl, I was thinking about you too because I went down and did some research and some of the things that we've been talking about in pertaining to the energy that I felt around you. All right, so, but I don't want to get distracted. Let me get to this message and then we're going to circle on back, okay? All right, so these messages may not be for everyone, okay? Just know that if you are not here to do your own internal work, they may not resonate with you, but that's okay. That's okay. There is something for everyone, and this may just not be your space of, your where you vibrating on the tone or the resonance that you're standing in right now. And that's okay. Okay. Everything is not for everybody, all right? And there's levels to this, okay? Now, I also want you to know that access is going to be granted to you based on your inner belief system and your inner knowing, okay? Keep in mind, whatever limitations you set for yourself, that is a limit that you would also have in the spiritual realm. Please know that, okay? Now, I also want to let you know energy is fluid. I can say this feels like your energy, but if it feels more like the energy of the person around you, place it where it needs to be, all right? It's part of owning your shit and taking accountability for where you fit in the way something is apparent in your experience, okay? Now, last but not least, okay, I am not your guru. I am not your leader, okay? I am literally your soul traveling guru friend. Okay, you are your own guru. You are your own guru. So welcome, gurus. Welcome. Okay, I've missed y'all. We've been waiting for this for a really long time. Okay, now that we done got that out of the way, all right, we are going to go ahead and sound the tone. Now, there is a reason why I am sounding the tone, okay? I will begin to explain that to you guys starting next week so you can understand what we're doing now is setting our spiritual routine and anchoring our resonance when we show up here in this space, okay? Because there ain't no judgment here. I don't give a fuck what you did. I don't give a fuck what you didn't do, okay? None of that matters to me. What matters to me is you being able to see yourself in totalness, okay? You've been seeking peace for years. Now it's time for you to see yourself in whole. Yeah, you may have some broken places, right? But we're going from broken pieces to a mosaic masterpiece. Okay, this is us putting together a mosaic masterpiece. All right, there is no such person walking around the face of this earth that can say they have not done something that they can learn from. They have not made a mistake. They have not misjudged someone. All right, this is where you begin to take accountability for your intention. All right, and how you want to show up in the world. And I'm not talking about the world externally. Show up in your world. Show up for you, right? It's time to take accountability of how you show up for you. Because how you show up for you, when you drop that when you drop that pebble in the water, of how you show up for you, guess what? As it expands out and it contracts back in, it can only bring back to you what you put out. Okay? Laws of the cosmos, y'all. Okay, so let's sound the tone. Okay, so the tone is representing ear energy. Ear energy is linked to your thoughts. This is your thinking process. This is the mental realm. Okay, so we're gonna sound the tone. All right, and we're starting the 4 elements. Okay, so I'm gonna be sounding this 4 times. If I sound it more than 4 times, that is because the energy is flat and the energy is not cleared yet. Okay, so we're sounding the tone. As we get 4 complete tones of resonance, we will move forward with the message. Okay, this is purposeful, because what this is doing is this is getting into your subconscious mind to begin to understand how energy moves. Okay, ear is tone. Tone is also linked to your throat chakra, your words, what you speak, which is also linked to what we would call swords in the mystical realm, your knives, the things that poke at you, the things that hurt you, right? A lot of you are out there poking and hurting yourself with your words and your throat chakra and your tone, and you don't even know it. Okay? All right, so here we go, y'all. I felt that in my core. First tone represents your thoughts, okay? So right now I'm asking you to take a deep breath in, all right? Acknowledge and center yourself in your mind. Allow yourself to be open to the messages that's coming through and allow it to hit you in your body where it needs to hit it, okay? If you've been holding something in your shoulders, that's throat chakra, allow it to hit your throat chakra. If you've been working on your confidence, that's your solar plexus, allow it to hit your solar plexus. If you've been working on family shit, that's your root chakra, allow it to hit your root chakra, okay? So wherever the message needs to go, allow it to energetically pinpoint to you in your body where you may have some tightness. The next tone, I'm going to ask you to pay attention as you breathe in and out to your body. Okay, that tone represented water. Water is linked to your emotions and your intuitive nature, okay? So as that tone sound, and I ask you to pay attention to your body, you're paying attention to the field that runs through you called blood, which is also liquid, which is still a connection to water emotions, okay? The things that fuels your thoughts is your emotions. So now what I'm asking you to do as this message is coming through is to pay attention what emotions arise when you think about a person, when you think about a situation, when you think about a place. So now you're not just externally reading your thoughts. You're now internally reading your thoughts and paying attention to your emotions that's linked to those thoughts. Okay? Next tone. Ooh, that tone hit me my root, y'all. Okay? That tone is fire. Okay? That tone is linked to action and movement. That is what fire energy is linked to, action and movement. Okay? That tone is important because as you think a thing, you feel a thing, you act that thing out. So now I'm asking you to pay attention to your actions for the thought that you're having, the feelings that you felt about that thought, and maybe how you may acted or reacted or maybe even respond in action to that thing. Now, I do want to just make you aware here. This is where you're observing without judgment. There is no judgment. There is no judgment. It's only observation. Change does not come by forcing change. Change comes by acknowledging there's something to be changed. And as we sound the last tone, that tone is going to represent earth. The tone of earth represent the realm of manifestation. This is the realm of matter. This is where your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions begin to take on form. So this is where you begin to take accountability for the external realm around you, right? Maybe the job, maybe the relationship that may seem dysfunctional or toxic, maybe the people pleasing, maybe having expectations for others that you may not, and now it's playing out in the environment because it's uncomfortable to be around. This is where you begin to understand that you bend space on time, not by physically moving the thing, but by first taking control of your thoughts, your feelings, and then your actions. When you join all four of these elements together, that is the activation that you need to begin to master all of the other elements around. Okay? Hey, Kia, how you doing? All right, y'all. Okay, so there are going to be some things that we're going to be repeating constantly on these lives, and that is to get you to understand how energy works, okay, and how you are your own guru, all right, and how you can begin to use your own internal alchemy to transmute things, okay? Now, I just went through the sequence of the four elements and how they link to things and how you can begin to move through these elements, okay, on your day-to-day. This is a real thing, right? What they say, you wrestle not with flesh and blood, but principalities and powers in higher places. This is what they're talking about. The realm of the unseen that dictates the scene, okay? All right, with that being said, V, play back maybe the first 15 minutes of the video and you'll understand the blood thing, the $700 for the blood, okay? Yeah. Okay, so let's take a look, y'all, of the vibration on the tone that was just set. The tone that we just set within the four elements is a tone of change, okay? And I also want you guys to look at the numbers on these cards, okay? You have 12. Remember, we're beginning the sequence of 12, right? And you also have 21. That is a mirror energy. That's mirroring energy, okay? Remember, we're learning how to read and discern energy here, okay? So just so you know, whenever you see 12 or 21, that is going to be a representation of mirroring energy, okay? Now, the hidden number here is also 3, but we're not going to get into that. We're just going to stick with the basis of the 12, okay? All right, and this clearly says, the frequency of change supports the ability to gracefully dance with the forever changing nature of reality, both inward and outward, so that you can appreciate the sweet release of the old and the birth of the new, okay? So remember what I told you guys? Change first has to be acknowledged that it's needed, and then you just fall into that. When you fight it, it's harder, right? When you fight change, it's a lot harder. Then you set goals and expectations for yourself and other people that you don't have to. But if you acknowledge change is needed and then you go within, something amazing happens that it begins to become effortless. You begin to understand how important it is for you to first show up for yourself before you have to show up for anybody else. Because this is from the place in which you become full. And then when your cup overflows, then you're able to give that overflow to others. Okay, you can't really give in an empty cup. And we've been giving in an empty cup for a long time, y'all. Okay. Oh, wow. Are you for real? Okay. Kia just said, okay, right at 3:21, as I said, the match cup. Synchronicity is amazing, y'all. Okay. So, guys, I did not give this announcement. Tomorrow is my birthday, and we are just showing up tomorrow in the live. Get you a glass of wine, okay? Celebrate my birthday with me. We're going to have fun tomorrow, okay? I am going to just say being back and really embracing just even all of these wonderful experiences that I've had, even a painful one, but being able to embrace myself at this point of myself right now is so amazing to me, because as I'm doing the work, one of the things I realized in my journal entry was I have pretty much been nurturing or taking care of people from since I've been born. I'm the oldest of 5, and then I left from that to be, older sibling of 5, then started dating, and then got married and had kids. And now that I'm single and the kids are, growing and doing their own thing, I'm finding that I've never really took care of me. Right? I've always had to, even if an older sibling, had to make sure my younger siblings were good when we were younger, when mom had to run out and, or cook or whatever, right? There was always a role of me being in a place, right, where I had to maybe make sure somebody else was good. And it's not that I was asked to, right? I just kind of felt like this is what I had to do, whether it was because I was an older sibling, whether because I was married, whether it was because I was playing the role of a mom. It didn't matter. I don't think I had been able to get to a place like I am right now, where the one thing that I can focus on is taking care of me, right? And then sometimes we're told that you can't take care of you because you got to be a mom, right? You got to give to everybody else. Like mom got to give first, right? You can't really take care of you because your dad got to get up and make the bacon, right? So taking care of you and being who you are and figuring out who you are is not something that's really highly promoted, right? What was promoted a lot is to put yourself on the back burner, right? Yep, put yourself in the back burner, right? And as you put yourself in the back burner and you're not really owning the parts of you that's on the back burner, then you put people in scripts, right, to play roles in your life, right, for the areas of you that you put on the back burner. And then get mad when you've scripted this subconsciously. And I've given you guys enough examples, even if the script is, I am not worthy of love, then every relationship that you get into, whether it's a relationship with your with your siblings, a relationship with your lover, a relationship with your kids, if the loop is, I am not worthy of love, everybody that shows up in your experience, until you understand that you've been playing that lion-ass loop from an old-ass script that you are no longer even, like, man, you don't wrote that script so much time that's played out. It ain't but so much times that you redo Jason at our age, right? How much times are we gonna rewatch Jason? Like, come on now, come on now, right? We damn near 50 now. How much times can they redo Jason for us to get who Jason? Like that's for the kids. So if you're watching it now, you're watching it for entertainment because you done seen Jason revamped multiple times, right? What loop are you playing internally, subconsciously? Hey, baby. All right. Be safe. I love you. Could you please let me know when you get there? Okay. What loop are you replaying within yourself that's being scripted, that has been scripted, assigned actors, right? Everything is playing out on stage. And when we're talking about stage right now, I'm talking about inner you. The stage is inner you. Right? And I'm talking about micro right now, not macro, because macro, the planets are the, is a stage. But I'm not talking about planets right now. I'm talking about inner you. Change begins with reflection. Thank you, Kim. I like that. Change begins with reflection. But when you reflect, it's not about beating yourself up. See, because reflection would get us stuck in guilt, right? Reflection would get us stuck in shame. Reflection would get us stuck in, you know what? When they said that, I should have said this. You know what? When they did that, I should have did this, right? Reflection will get you stuck in the areas of the place where you did not stand up for that little girl and that little boy, and now you're ashamed. Reflection can sometimes keep you caught up in somebody else's shame and guilt that don't got nothing to do with you, right? That don't got nothing to do with you. That's what reflection will do. But let me tell you about something else about reflection, right? If you stay long enough in reflection, there's something amazing that happens in that space of reflection when you're not seeking externally, when you're not trying to get validation externally. I told y'all we're now going to adapt the system of truth does not need external validation because it will produce external verification. That's universal law. That in which you seek seeks you. A lot of us just don't know what the hell we've been seeking because there's so much layers of shit that we haven't uncovered within ourselves, right? Man, I was up in here jamming today. Let me tell y'all. So I was up in here jamming today. I have a playlist that I repeat, right? And when I play my playlist, I have to be very honest with you guys. I do not. When I listen to love song, it is not about me and sending in love songs to me. I listen to love songs as the songs are being sung to me by me. Okay? So Miguel was up in here jamming today because that's one of my go-to. Adorned by Miguel. If you do not know that song, I think you need to put that in your playlist on your journey of healing. Okay? And that is the universe singing to me. And I was up in here jamming, just singing to that song, just singing, just jamming to that song. And I told you guys, as I allow myself to be filled, when you fill yourself with love for yourself, even if you what they say, clumsy. Even if you tend to, you put something down, it falls. Even if you tend to, like one of the things, see, and so let me show you how guilt and shame will get you stuck and keep you in a box, right? Okay, real talk. So let's talk about it. We need to understand how this plays out in real talk in our day-to-day lives, okay? So I don't know if I've ever told you guys that I have, and it may not even be dyslexia, but I see things backwards. Okay, so I can look at a number and I can look at a word. This is why when you come on here and I say to you, please excuse me if I mess your name up, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I just see things differently, so I mix the letters up, right? And then once the letters are mixed up, and then my brain be trying to figure out like how to now phonically, pronounce the letters that I done mixed up. I see the letters, but in my brain, the letters don't look like they look on the screen, okay? So growing up like that, you think that, you think there's something wrong with you, right? You think that you're stupid, you're not as smart, right? You think that you can't learn like everybody else because you come through a school standard like this is a standard, and if you don't know how to do it this way, then there's something wrong with you, right? But I always knew that I was smart, and I always knew I thought differently, right? But because of systemically how we are brought up, I always was attaching myself back then to the stigma of, okay, because I see things backwardly, or they may call it dyslexia, or there's another term for it, when you see things backwardly, right? There was still always not, that's normal. That was attached to something shameful, right? So even when I knew the answer in school, I would doubt myself because of that, right? How do I know I'm seeing it properly? How do I know I'm seeing it properly? Right up till adulthood, when I told you guys that I went out and a lot of these certifications and stuff that I went out and licenses that I went out to get was not because I was confident in myself. It was because I felt like I needed external validation before I can express the internal truth that was trying to come out about some of these systems and connection to the ancient and my channel messages that I was getting, right? I was not able to validate and love myself with my flaws and all because I was programmed not to. And then one day I had a channel message that the reason why you see things backwards is because that's really the way things work, right? That's really the way things work. You're in the upside down. And not only are you in the upside down, when you go back to, let's say, even the Hebrew language, right? Even the Hebrew language, you don't read that the way that you read that in English. You read that backwards, okay? Even in ancient language, the way that you read this, what do they call them? Not Sanscripts, the glyphs, right? Your brain gotta calculate the glyphs in a certain way. So as to where we are being trained to read letters, my brain was still trained to read symbols. So in my mind, I'm trying to apply symbols to letters where, I can't because I'm seeing them backwards. Okay? I'm seeing them backwards. Hold on, guys. 1 second. 1 second. I need to send somebody a document, but I gotta do it now. Okay, give me 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. Go get yourself some water, hydrate. Okay. I'm so sorry, y'all, but I needed to go ahead and send her that information because it was time sensitive. Okay, so where was I? Let me just read the chats because I also forgot what I was talking about. Oh, I was talking about how I got caught up in feeling guilty and shameful because I saw things backwards, you know. So once again, this is why I tell, you know, the new family, you know, please don't be. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. That's just how my brain works. My brain works is seeing symbols and seeing patterns and stuff, okay? So I no longer feel shameful of that. I've gotten to a point where I just embrace that about myself, you know? That, having that really, before I began the spiritual walk and before I really got deep into my spiritual walk, was crippling when you walk into places, especially, you know, going into jobs where I know that I'm qualified for this promotion, but you're not giving me the promotion. So everybody comes to me like I'm the manager, but you don't want to give me the title, you know, or the money to go with what I'm already doing. So that played a lot on insecurity. That played a lot on me being able to not maybe validate myself, but looking for external validation because there was some guilt and some shame attached to something that's just a natural part of who I am, right? That I'm also going to say literally is part of my energetic pattern for a reason, because now that I've embraced that part of me, that's what's able to help me to understand patterns and understand sound and understand archetypes, right? The same thing that I felt shameful for has now, because I've now opened up to what my shadow was saying about that part of me, have now become an amazing aspect to how I use my gift. An amazing aspect to how I use my gift. And all I did really was just said, okay, I understand that there's a change needed. I'm not going to force it, right? I'm not going to force it. When you get to a space within yourself and you start to be honest with yourself, like you don't have to tell nobody that you feel shameful about whatever it is you feel shameful for. Just get with yourself. And then once you admit that you may feel shameful or guilty about a thing, something beautiful happens within that moment, because your higher self, whether you want to call it God, your angels, they begin to really expose that hidden part of you or the other side of that guilt and shame. The last relationship I exited, I remember him looking at me like I was crazy. Yeah, he thought I was crazy. He really did think I was crazy. And I find that when you are a spiritual being and you date people that are not as spiritual, you know, or that may be a little bit more religious than they are spiritual, they can't understand sacred and spiritual things, right? So even if they're curious and they just began their spiritual walk, they may be a little open, right? But if you're on a spiritual journey, you can't date somebody that's hyper religious or hyper, atheist. Let's just say you can't date somebody that has not had some type of connection with their own spirit, period, and think that you're going to have a relationship of coherence. Because if they don't even see God within themselves, or spirit within themselves, or source within themselves, if they don't even see love within themselves, how can they recognize love within you? That goes back to asking you the question, like, right? If you can't even see love within yourself, how do you verify love externally, right? Because truth internally is going to validate that you are worthy of love when you get past all of the shame and the guilt, right? Truth is going to validate that, right? That you're worthy of love, right? It's going to validate that within you, right? Because it's there. But if you're not able to be open to that validation that's coming from within, how do you expect somebody to verify externally that you are worthy of love when you don't even give that to yourself? Sometimes loving yourself is just admitting to yourself that my social battery is out, and I can't take another conversation with another soul. I cannot take another conversation with another soul. I don't have the patience right now to be all cuddly and warm. I feel irritated. I feel hot. I feel annoyed. I feel hungry. Sometimes self-love is just admitting those moments and giving yourself to experience those moments. I think, early in my friendships, and especially if you're not doing the work, I would annoy the fuck out of you. I would be the friend that would probably annoy a friend that's not doing their work, right? Because I always lead you back to you, right? So I'm going to let you vent. I'm going to let you vent it out. We're going to unpack. We're going to talk about it, girl. Yeah, girl, And then after you vented, and then after I listen, I'm going to be like, yeah, so can I put another perspective? Can we unpack and maybe look at this a different way? So when they did that, what did that make you feel? Okay, made you feel like that? Okay. And, so, but why did you feel like that? Is there a reason like you felt like that? Because from my perspective, looking out, I'm not even sure that that's really the way they meant it, but we need to get to the root of, they could have probably been nasty and intentional in that, but let's find out what that trigger is about, right? Because once we find out what that trigger is about, friend, then nobody can really trigger you like that no more. So can we just unpack the trigger, So a person in my circle that's not about doing their work, I would annoy the fuck out of you, because I do that to myself. Any of my friends can validate to you, especially in this past year, right, how the first place I look is myself. All right, well, that was an ouch, okay? I got myself into this situation. Clearly, I did not pay attention to some of these red flags. Clearly, there's something, that I still I'm missing here. So what role did I play in this situation? Because I could be mad at, this person. I can, right? And then when I start to peel the layers back, right? Not only was I mad at that person, but I also peeled back the layers of being mad at myself. There was energy resonating there that I was mad at myself. Okay, now I'm mad at myself. So why am I mad at myself, though? Then when I go, I go look within, then I realize why I'm mad at myself, right? I'm mad at myself because I remember when this was said and I didn't say anything, right? I remember when that small little comment was did and I didn't. So then I start to see all of the areas maybe where I did not stand up for myself, right? And then I start to see the areas where maybe I did stand up for myself. So I'm thankful for that, right? Because there were areas that I would not budge from. I was not going to change the way that I believe. I was not going to change the woman that I am, right? But what I was doing, y'all, but look how this was playing out. What I was doing was hiding so I couldn't be seen, right? Giving more love than I was receiving just to be loved. Putting the word and the label love on things that had nothing to do with love. Because I was withholding love for myself. And then expecting somebody else to give me that in which I was withholding from myself. Remember how we talked about at the beginning how energy flows, your thoughts? So if I'm walking around with my thoughts saying that you're not worthy of love, right? And then I fuel that with my emotion, which means now I don't drop the pebble in the water. Boom, the pebble is the thought that I'm not worthy of love, right? So now I'm fueling that with my emotions because now I'm thinking about all of the relationships, right, where men have hurt me and lied to me, right? So that's being, right, infused by, I can't really trust nobody anyway because when I open up my heart and I'm vulnerable, right? So that's infused by that, right? And then it's going to cause me to then react, right, to that loop. Not worthy of love, can't trust people anyway, right? So then I get into situations where, well, what am I doing, right? Not being honest with myself, not paying attention to red flags, shrinking myself down because I really don't want to be seen, right? Because you're smart as hell, but you keep choosing people that's, intimidated by your smartness, right? Because you don't even embrace the fact that you're smart, right? Because you need to go out and you need to get all of these certifications and this external validation because you're not validated within yourself. Do y'all see how this loop works? You see how the loop works? Do you see how the loop works? That's how the loop works. But can I tell you, when you get to a place within yourself where you notice that you don't gotta try no more, it ain't no guilt needed, it ain't no shame needed, it ain't, and then you get to experience freedom within yourself, and then as you're free within yourself, you walk into a room and you allow others to be free because you don't judge nobody because you've been there, done that. You know what guilt and shame looks like. It may be playing out differently for you, right? But I know what guilt and shame looks like. I know what insecurity looks like. I know what fear looks like. So I know when you come at me in a certain way, you're not really coming at me. I'm mirroring back to you something that you have not even embraced, forgiven, loved, honored about you. I understand that now, right? So my perspective on relationships is different. So now I know because I am a reflection of me, right? And I dropped that pebble, not thought, in the water, right? The thought in the pebble that I've dropped in the water now is I am worthy of love because I am love. And I don't have to seek outside of myself to receive or give love, right? And anything that flows externally is a mirror image of what's already happening internally. You get to that space and you understand if people don't want to be in your presence, it's okay. You get to that space and you show up in an environment where somebody says, I'm so proud of you, I'm happy for you, because you read energy and because you know what it feels like to really not be secure and be confident. You know what that resonates on? Even though they said the words, the resonation from the words vibrate on their own insecurities. So that's not your shit, you don't got to own it. And now you know when you're in the presence of this particular person, just be mindful that they say well things to you, but they may not energetically be wishing you well things. Yeah, Miss T said she's so glad of being out of the loop. Yeah, when you're out of the loop, you okay with your what we call flaws or imperfections because you understand that is the place where you meet your perfect self. That is the space that you meet your perfect self. Okay. Divine feminine energy is the mirror energy, and I'm not going to tell y'all again. Divine feminine energy also represents energy of water. It also represents energy of the womb. It also represents the creative energy. It also represents intuitive energy. How does this play out in your life? Let me go back to that again, okay? Be open to change in the areas of divine feminine energy. That is in the areas of your emotions. That is in the area of your intuition. That is in the area of your creativity. That is in the area of your womb. And I'm not just talking about the womb, we're talking about sexual intimacy. I'm talking about the womb of your mind, the womb of your spirit, the womb of your self-love, the womb of your resonance, your essence. Do you know how special you are? Do you know how special you are? Despite all of the mistakes that you've made, or what you think were mistakes, but were really just experiences to get you back to remembering how special you are. Now, and now here's the thing. So let me just give you guys a myth breaker right here. This is why when you get to a place where you're elevating in mastery level and you're now being the alchemist that you are, and alchemists understand that there's no such thing as good and evil. And alchemists understand that once a person has the codes, has the discipline, have decoded the mystery, right, can elevate. So let me decode a mystery for you, right? You can have somebody that has hurt you terribly. Oh my gosh, they've hurt you terribly. And not only have they hurt you terribly, but the intent in which they hurt you, oh no, they wanted you to fucking suffer. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They wanted you to hurt, baby, okay? And that same person can go through an awakening process where they face their shit, deal with their dark side, deal with their insecurities, deal with their traumas, and turn around and have an amazing fucking life of amazing experiences because they met themselves. They met source within themselves. But you're walking around looping, being angry, whether it's angry with yourself, maybe holding on to guilt and shame, maybe holding on to insecurities, and not experience the type of love and wonderful shit that they're experiencing, right? That can happen in real time on this particular realm right now, right? Or they can get to the end of the cycle and on their deathbed, they've had this epiphany that, they need to correct some things and then decide to reincarnate someplace else and have a wonderful experience because they now know that there's some correction and they would not necessarily attach to the fucking experience, right? When you get to a level when you realize you're not attached to the experience is to teach you about yourself. And if you get that part in your deathbed, we talk about karma, right? If you get on your deathbed, now get this, if you get this on your deathbed that you are not attached to karma and you learn the lesson, you get to come back where you don't have to repeat that lesson. Do you know that some people that they're born here reincarnated where they don't have a life of karma because they've mastered their karma? That exists. It shows up in their numerology chart. It shows up in the vibration and the tone of their name. Do you know that the tone of your original name carries a vibration? The spelling of your name carries a vibration. It carries a numerical value, and it can tell you so much about yourself. You know, the date of your birth shows an energetic archetype blueprint of you. Right? And it's not that you have to walk around studying all of these things. No, because if you study you, they begin to unfold. They begin to unfold. You know, one of the things I told you guys when we kick off this 12, right? The mastering of the 12. One of the journals that you're going to have should be called the Book of Remembrance. I'm just going to give you that right now. I told you guys go get 3 journals, but if you only get in one, label that one the Book of Remembrance. The things that you're just innately good at, but you beat yourself up for. You know, like the fact that you have a heart where you can easily forgive people and not hold them hostage for their wrongdoing, but you hold yourself hostage, right? Do you know that if you go in and you merge that aspect of yourself and you integrate that aspect of yourself, do you know how much more greater your capacity to give and receive love is? So you walking around here mad because you have the capacity to love people, but not understanding that that's your fucking superpower. You just don't know how to use it yet. That's your superpower. You just don't know how to use it yet because you've been told that that is not a superpower. You've been told that that's a weakness. You've been told that the only way for you really to feel love and to be loved is if you check all of these motherfucking boxes, right? I'm working on my cursing, y'all, but sometimes when this energy comes through, I just, you know. But if you can't get past the cursing and listen to the message and the lesson, then this ain't for you. I used to have a teacher that said that, oh, he had a potty mouth, y'all. Oh, he had a potty mouth. I don't know if y'all remember Brother Panic, but he had a potty mouth, okay? And he used to say that, like, if you can't get past the cursing, then the message, you know, change is happening, and it's happening through divine energy. It's mirroring energy. We talked about that in the video. We talked about the mirroring energy. If you want to understand that some more, go through the channel and look for the video that says mirroring energy 2012 and 2021. Now, here's where I also want to let you guys know, because this is coming up again. What did you start in 2012 that you may have put down in 2021? It is now time for you to pick that up and complete it. Did you put down maybe starting your own business? Did you put on the shelf maybe ending a situation that you knew you should have walked away from in 2021? Right? Did you put down maybe going to therapy? Right? Did you put down all of the plans that you had maybe from 2012 that started to go into fruition, and then COVID hit, so you got stumped because the finances had to be directed a different way? The energy of whatever you started back here, okay? You know, and if I have any younger viewers that may have been younger in 2012, I want you to pay attention to more so what your dreams were in 2012 and how those dreams may have come into fruition in 2021. How far your dreams in 2012 got to in 2021. Okay? It's not about doubting ourselves anymore, y'all. It's just about embracing ourselves and realizing, man, listen. You know, like, what works for you may not necessarily work for somebody else. I need a particular deck of cards for the looping energy because I'm hearing not to take our normal deck, which is the Martian Mystic deck, but I have to go get those cards. I'm being told to pull a chakra. Give me 1 second, y'all. Okay. Okay. Guys, when I get off of here, you know what I'm finna do? I am going to go, and I don't know if Kia is still on here. Kia, I'm up to episode, I think, 8 in the Empress. Okay, Kia got me watching the Empress on Netflix, y'all. I'm up to episode, I believe, 8 on Netflix. Yes. I will be, and Cheryl, I don't even know if you're going to be up, but I will be doing, having a glass of wine with you guys tomorrow, Eastern Standard Time. Okay? Yeah, the Empress. Yeah, she has me watching that. And it kind of fits the time we're in, where you're discovering who you really are and standing on it, you know? I think Kim got this correct earlier. The looping energy here is reflection. Mirroring energy. I love when these cards just show up the way they show up, y'all. I am in Atlanta, Georgia. I am in Atlanta, Georgia. Okay. I can't, like, I feel like I just went through this whole reflection thing. I can't make this up. Look at the energy that's looping, reflection energy. Look at it. Y'all just don't see, like, yeah, can y'all just see the patterns that are showing up here? Do you see this circle, 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 circle? Look at like the tree of life patterns in here, and then look how everything is birthed from the center, y'all. The center is a 13 point. You were the one emanating all of this out. Okay? I don't think I'm gonna go any more into the looping energy. I'm be real with you, because I feel like this reflection energy, because we've been talking about that for how long now? Over like almost an hour now? Oh, your dad sang at the Olympics there? Okay, that's what's up. Look at the bottom of the deck. Protection. First of all, I want you guys to pay attention to something here, okay? Because we're paying attention to patterns. I'm helping you guys to see patterns. We're looking at patterns, right? The cards just repeating everything. Okay, so remember we talked about the pebble. Do y'all see how I dropped the pebble literally in real time and the pebble just came on back? Just in our conversation. Do you guys not see that? This is breath. Look at the imagery. This is breath. You have the expansion, and you have the contraction. Breath, y'all. Masculine, feminine energy. Look at these circles. I can't make these things up. Look at what's the bottom of the decks now. Pay attention to your goals. Then we just talk about the hidden parts of you. And y'all know I go by energy. I was led to go get these cards, y'all. Your ghost is what's in the way of your success. And the ghost that you're chasing is not other people. The ghost is what? Reflection, protecting. What are you protecting that you need not to protect anymore, because all you need to do is be aware that change is needed? Who are you protecting? Are you protecting the little girl inside? Are you protecting the lies that you've been looping to yourself? Whatever ghosts it is that you're hiding from within yourself. And remember, let's talk about how this energy works again, right? This energy works like this. Air, your thoughts, which are fueled by what? Water, your emotions, which then leads to what? Fire, your actions, which then leads to what? Earth, your manifestation. What ghost are you hiding from, or what are you hiding or protecting yourself, right? So your reflection comes out more so as a projection, right? Because every pebble you drop in the water is going to go out with a tone or a vibration and come back in, meeting that same tone on that vibration. What disruptions? And this is a pink card. Pink represents heart chakra. Heart chakra is your original brain, y'all. Heart chakra, I told you guys, your heart is the resonance that links to the earth, not your fucking brain. This is why they tell you in all of the mystic texts, you judge where? From your heart, not from your brain. Pink, love. What disruption did you have going on within yourself about loving yourself that you're reflecting externally? What is it? Okay. All right. Let's see. That's the looping energy. All right. Let's take a look and see how the energy, well, that's the looping energy, and this is how the energy is unfolding. Okay. Now, let's take a look at how to navigate through this energy. Okay. I'm fucking done. I'm not pulling another card. I'm not. I am not. I just asked, how do you navigate this energy? Okay, y'all. What did we just spend an hour talking about? Did we not just spend an hour talking about self-discovery? Going within? Look at this card. Look at this card. Do you not see the symbolism here? Do you not? You got the moon, which represents emotions. You got over here angels, the higher self. You got the heart being eliminated. What did I just tell you about your heart? What did I just say about your heart? What did I just tell you you have to go? I'm not pulling no more cards. I am not. No. Because then I'm just going to be repeating myself. I'm not finna do that. No. I got the message. Hopefully y'all got the message, because I'm just going to tell y'all right now. This is so how tuned in and tapped in I am to my higher self. This frequency and this vibration that I'm sending out is not just for you guys, but it's also for me. That in which I send out is that is which I receive. Each and every one of you that show up here, you put a like on this video, you interact in the chat, you are a reflection of me. I am a reflection of you. I see you because I see me. I'm not looking at people's perfect dressing or your perfect word speech or your perfect Instagram page. I'm reading your motherfucking energy now. No more trying to be a people pleaser because I don't want to hurt people's feelings and I want everybody to feel comfortable and I want everybody just to be okay. No, sometimes you got to be uncomfortable so you can get comfortable. Sometimes you got to be uncomfortable in yourself so you can understand what you need to be comfortable. Okay? Stop trying to figure other people out and figure you out. Stop trying to love other people in spaces and places that you haven't even loved yourself. I'm speaking to your inner you. Truth does not need external validation, but it is going to show up with some external verification, and I just verified it for you. You are amazing, but I can tell you you're amazing 1,000-fold, but if you don't believe in you because of whatever heart disruption that you have, I just said this, and look what came out, and even the colors match. I love you guys. I do. I'm finna go watch The Empress. Okay? With my let me show y'all. With my jug of water. I'm way past. Look, I'm still at 1 p.m. Okay, so when I get off, what time is it now? I gotta drink to about here, y'all. Okay, because I'm still here. Okay? But I gotta get down to here. And it starts at 7 a.m., y'all. You can't, like, it's all the way up here, 7 a.m. You can't really see it, but it's right there, okay? So I'm finna go get me some, heat me up my leftovers from yesterday. Get in my bed with my remote control, twiddle my toes, okay? Eat some corn chips and drink some water. Yeah, I'm finna eat some corn chips, okay? And drink some water and watch the Empress because it's getting good. It's about to go to season 2 now, okay? And we will be here tomorrow for my birthday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, okay? Bring your glass of wine. If you don't drink wine, bring your glass of water, okay? All right, and we're gonna have a good time tomorrow. I don't have an impromptu. All right, we're just gonna let the energy flow. We're gonna set the tone, and we're gonna let the energy flow. That's what we're finna do for my birthday. Okay, you are so welcome, Shirley, and everybody else. My gurus, my gurus. Welcome. I appreciate y'all. We stepping into guruhood now, right? You don't need nobody externally to be a guru. You are your own internal guru. You are your own alchemist, okay? You are your own savior, all right? On that note, my love. Yeah, and Shirley, just let me say, I appreciate that, Shirley, because every day is school, right? We just getting some tools, right? We just, we're getting the tools and to know what we need for this particular course. Right? Okay, so on that note, y'all know the deal. Do something kind for yourself because you absolutely should. Absolutely should, okay? And you would want to do something kind for somebody else, not because you can, but because you could, right? Happiness is contagious. Confidence is contagious. Joy is contagious. Ooh, and it's Scorpio season, y'all. So I'm just going to put this out here, right? Sexiness is also contagious, and sexiness has nothing to do with what you wear. It's an energy. All right, so you can have ponytail, no makeup, your hair look a hot mess, you walking around in sweats, but you sexy as hell because you vibrating on that energy. All right, so step into your sexiness. I'm just saying, okay? I'm just saying, because that's what I'm finna do, y'all. That's why I was playing my love songs today, okay? So love yourself. Don't beat up on yourself. It ain't about judgment. It's about what? Discovery, okay? All right. I love you guys so much, so much, so much. I'm going to see you guys tomorrow at 7. Bye, my loves. Shirley, wait. Let me see what Shirley said. I have to tell you about the man from... Ooh, Shirley, save that for tomorrow. Okay, save that for tomorrow. Okay. And let me see if I could probably... I don't know, y'all. I have to... we're going to figure some stuff out, okay? Shirley, save it for tomorrow because I would love to hear it, all right? That could be birthday topic tomorrow. Ooh, yeah. Tomorrow, let's do relationship narratives. We're going to talk about relationship narratives tomorrow. Tomorrow, it's all about relationship. Okay, we may feel some symbolisms up in there, but we finna talk about relationships tomorrow, okay? I love you guys so much. I'm going to see you guys tomorrow. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening, okay? Bye, my loves. And